Welcome everybody to our fifth and final webinar of our webinar series. Today, we're going to explore our LALRISE range of products, which are geared for plant growth promotion as part of improving tree growth throughout the tree supply chain. There are a variety of products under this product range, but specifically today, we're going to focus on three products, which include LALRISE VITA, a plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, LALRISE MAX, a mycorrhizae, and LALRISE START G, and their respective roles in tree growth. My name is Allison Windmill, and I am the Technical Manager for Forestry and Tree Nurseries at LALRISE Plant Care. It is my role and responsibility within the company to coordinate and run technical work to support field testing of our products. And one of the main focuses of my particular research has been with LALRISE VITA in tree nurseries, which we'll explore some of that today. So I wanted to begin the talk today with a brief introduction of LALRISE Plant Care. LALRISE is a Canadian family-owned company and a global leader in yeast and bacteria production. The company is split into several different business units, including plant care as one of those business units, where we use microbial-based solutions for issues affecting plant health, whether it's providing a botanically based insecticide to protect our urban trees against insect pests like triazin, or offering a naturally occurring fungus to help mitigate the resprouting of invasive shrubs like Lalside chondro. Pride ourselves in our technical expertise and science-backed approach to offer innovative solutions to plant healthcare challenges. At LALRISE Plant Care, a plant is viewed as an ecosystem in which microorganisms play an essential role. We have a whole suite of products that you can see here on the slide that are tailored for different industries, including broadacre crops, specialty agriculture, as well as forestry, both urban and commercial. And we have a whole line of product ranges, which you can see if you listed here, that are suited to various elements of the plant itself and its health to enhance, to help grow, and to protect the plant. So what we're focusing on today is under the grow category with our LALRISE product range, which consists of biofertilizers, plant growth promoting microorganisms, and mycorrhizae. And so it's with these products that we are aiming to improve tree growth starting at the very beginning when these trees are in their infancies in tree nurseries. So the first product we're going to look at is LALRISE VITA, which is a plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, or PGPR for short, which has the active ingredient of Bacillus velezensis. And the main mode of action of this product is the ability to solubilize phosphorus for plant uptake and promote plant growth and establishment. From a forestry perspective, the main focus of the technical work for this product has been at the tree nursery stage. So firstly, I'm just going to explain the product itself and then review some of that research with you and how the product fits into this stage of tree production. So LALRISE VITA is a plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, specifically with that active ingredient of Bacillus velezensis, and it works within the rhizosphere of the plant. So once applied, the bacteria works to colonize the rhizosphere of the plant, so that area right around all of the roots. And the bacteria then feed off root exudates from the plant, and in exchange, it helps to solubilize phosphorus into a plant-available format for increased nutrient uptake. And phosphorus can quickly become bound to other elements in your soil or substrate, which then make it very quickly unavailable for plant uptake. So Bacillus velezensis releases enzymes which actually have the ability to cleave that bond, which makes it unavailable to the plant, making it then available and increasing the phosphorus to the plant. And so it's for this reason that it is important to know the fertilizer regimes as well as the growing substrate or soil composition in order to understand how LALRISE VITA can help. So in addition to the phosphorus solubilization, other modes of action include promoting plant establishment through improved root vigor and nutrient availability, enhanced root growth and exploration, promoting growth in young plants and increasing crop homogeneity, improved root mass growth and yields. So the product itself is a wettable powder, so it needs to be mixed with water and applied in a way that it reaches the root system. And then once applied in the soil, the bacteria then multiplies and subsequently colonizes the rhizosphere, where it can then utilize those root exudates and in exchange provides this variety of benefits to the plant. So in terms of application method, the main message is the product must reach the roots. So the bacteria doesn't have the ability to move in the soil. They move to the roots via water during application. So once established on the roots, they can move through root growth. And you can see here that we have listed a variety of application methods so that it can suit the majority of infrastructure and equipment available in different nursery settings. And the optimal application temperature is about 10 to 30 degrees Celsius with a minimum soil temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. And this minimum range of temperature is just to ensure that the temperature is sufficient for the bacteria to multiply to colonize that rhizosphere. We recommend not to apply to dry soil or to dry substrate conditions, rather to apply in a more moist condition, so whether that be after a rain or post-irrigation. And of course, the dose rates for different plant sizes and containers are on our label. But in terms of frequency, we generally recommend to apply the product 3 times during the growing season at monthly intervals. And it's really critical that when you're planning application, that the first application be timed correctly. So if you're growing from seed, then we recommend applying post-germination with those first roots being present. And if the plant is already established, then post-bud burst and root flush when white roots are present. So having roots present is absolutely key as the bacteria requires those root exudates. And the reason for multiple applications is that we inoculate the plant, not the soil. So the bacteria can, of course, be subject to competition, as typically an equilibrium is always trying to be achieved. So multiple applications are required to sustain that nice high population in the rhizosphere. And of course, also roots get larger over time. So multiple applications ensure total and a really nice continuous coverage of that root system. So now that I've gone through a little bit about the product, I wanted to go through some technical results and how those can be applied to seedlings in the nursery stage. So one of the first trials that we conducted was on black cherry seedlings, and the nursery we worked with had identified the species as being sometimes challenging to grow from seed. And so collectively, we were really interested to see if LALRISE VITA could be used to improve this crop. And so just for your reference, we started with 100 trees per treatment, where our first treatment is what we called the control or business as usual. So simply, it was just the normal fertilizer regime of the nursery. And then our second treatment was that same standard fertilizer program, and then we added LALRISE VITA to that. And so the first application of LALRISE VITA was post-germination. So these trees were grown from seed. And when that first above ground growth was observed, then we knew that roots were present. So that's how we timed our first application. And then it was followed by 2 more applications at that 4-week interval for a total of 3. At the end of the growing season, we saw some really interesting results, particularly in caliper and root mass growth, which were both statistically significant. And so the trees that received the second treatment with LALRISE VITA, they experienced just over a 6% increase in caliper growth and an incredible 20% increase in dry root mass or dry root weight. And if we look at the pictures here of an example of the root systems, we can see the difference in fine root hairs and overall root mass. It's really quite visual between the control on the left and the LALRISE VITA treated trees on the right. And the nursery was really happy with the result of our trial and wanted to scale it up to a larger scale and repeat the work. And they did this a few years later. And so here's just a brief kind of snapshot of the results, as again, they were very visual. And you can see just comparing the root plugs, those that were treated with LALRISE VITA on the right versus those that had the standard fertilizer program alone on the left. So really, really visual, that improved root mass growth and development there. In another nursery, we were able to try LALRISE VITA on red oak and English oak. And in this case, both of these species are grown in a hoop house from acorns, with the objective of growing to a certain size to then move on to the next phase of nursery production. So in the case of the red oaks, they're grown to move on to outplanting an open field to continue their growth there. And the English oaks were grown for grafting stock. And so in each of these cases, any seedlings that don't qualify for that next phase of production is a loss in profit to the nursery due to losing that stock. So we wanted to see if LALRISE VITA could improve this. And to test that, we followed the same idea of the black cherries, where we had one set of trees as the control. So again, just the standard fertilizer regime of the nursery. And the second treatment being that same standard fertilizer regime with the addition of LALRISE VITA. So the first application of LALRISE VITA was again planned for post-germination, which you can see in the photo on the far right with those acorns that are just germinating. So when we saw that, then we started with the first application and followed by another application 4 weeks later, and a third and final treatment 4 weeks after that, for a total of 3 applications. So first, looking to the results for the red oaks. At the end of the growing season, nursery employees who didn't know what the treatments were, they sorted the trees into categories of being good to go to the field and those that were too small. And the results showed a 38% improvement in the number of trees qualifying for the next phase in nursery production. So it was clear that the LALRISE VITA was certainly adding value to the nursery in reducing loss and increasing successful plants to carry on in the nursery production. And looking to the English oaks, which were grown with the objective of grafting being the next phase in nursery production, again, we had nursery employees sort these trees for those that were good for grafting and those that were too small. And in this case, we were able to significantly increase the number of trees qualifying for grafting and the next phase in nursery production by 20%. So reducing the waste. And in this case, those trees that actually went to waste had a dollar value associated with it. So by using LALRISE VITA, the nursery was able to save money due to less trees going to waste and more moving on to that next phase of production. So that was just a glimpse into some of the work that we've done with tree nurseries and LALRISE VITA at that seedling stage. And a quick summary of the benefits that LALRISE VITA can bring to young plants is that improved caliper, height, root mass, and all of these things together can result in an increased economic value of the trees to the nursery. Okay, so switching gears now to another product under our LALRISE range, which is LALRISE MAX. And this product is a mycorrhizae, and it's a spore-based formulation, which is OMRI listed. So before we get too in depth on the product, I wanted to first explain in a general sense a little bit about mycorrhizae. So mycorrhizae are fungi that can be categorized as ectomycorrhizae and endomycorrhizae. And one of the main differences between the two is that ectomycorrhizae typically form their association with the plant on the outside of the roots, or just under the surface, where the endomycorrhizae form their association within the roots. And it's important to know the plants that you're working with, and then to know which kind of the mycorrhizae they typically form their relationship with. As some plants, like conifers, for example, they typically associate with ectomycorrhizae, while a vast majority of plants prefer the endomycorrhizae. And so in the case of LALRISE MAX, it contains an endomycorrhizae, and its active ingredient is Rhizophagus irregularis. And you'll see on the product information here that the product guarantee is in spores per gram. And this is important because the spore is a really great resistant survival structure. And additionally, this product has one mycorrhizal strain, and I just wanted to highlight the benefit of this, which is the optimal and really consistent colonization of the root system with that known spore per gram concentration. So to explore a little bit more about how LALRISE MAX, and how it works, we can follow the series of graphics here where the product is first applied to the plant, so it's inoculated. And then post-application, the spores germinate near the roots and produce hyphae, which then colonize the roots of the plant. And so then the hyphae act as an extension of the root system to create a network beyond the existing root zone to maximize nutrient uptake and capacity. So nutrients and water that are beyond the reach of the roots are translocated to the plant through the hyphae. And so LALRISE MAX only needs to be applied once to a plant. And then once it creates this network in association with the roots, then a whole new generation of spores are generated, which continue to provide benefits to the crop over its lifetime. So with all of that being said, the main modes of action of LALRISE MAX can be summarized into really the 2 points that you see here, where the mycorrhizae efficiently connects to the root system and forms an extensive underground network of filaments. And once that's done, the filaments then act as root extensions to help reach out for nutrients and water beyond the rhizosphere. So these two working together are then able to enhance the plant's root system and nutrient uptake. So with those modes of action working together, some advantages of that LALRISE MAX can bring to the plant include things like more root colonization, rapid root establishment, increasing plant yields, and improving nutrient absorption capacity. There's also the added benefit that only a single application is required. So once a plant is inoculated, then it is there and provides the benefits to the plant for its lifetime. We often get the question of what's the difference between LALRISE VITA and LALRISE MAX. So I thought I'd address that here. And so at the very core, the main difference between the two is that LALRISE MAX is a fungi, while LALRISE VITA is a bacteria. Additionally, the mycorrhizae take time to develop their symbiotic relationship between the roots and the fungi, while LALRISE VITA can quickly occupy the rhizosphere, providing immediate benefits. However, mycorrhizae do tend to persist in the soil, while LALRISE VITA can be quickly outcompeted, hence those repeat applications. And so the two products are highly compatible organisms and can really be complementary, where the LALRISE VITA can quickly colonize those roots, solubilize phosphorus, and to begin to provide those immediate benefits, while the mycorrhizae takes its time takes that time that's required to form its symbiotic relationship with the plant, and then in turn provide those long-term benefits. So when we're thinking of trees and their various stages of production and planting, both products can be considered alone or together based on the end goal objectives and at various stages of tree production. So far we've covered LALRISE VITA with a focus on the tree seedling stage, LALRISE MAX in an introduction to mycorrhizal fungi, and the last product I wanted to briefly introduce to you with its potential for use later on within the tree value chain, more in the urban outplanting scenario, is LALRISE START G. So LALRISE START G is a granule coated with the same plant growth promoting rhizobacteria active as in LALRISE VITA, so that same Bacillus velazensis. However, the specific granular formulation of LALRISE START G has an ideal structure, density, and uniformity to effectively distribute the Bacillus velazensis on or in soils, mulches, and growing media. So the benefit of the bacteria is the solubilization of phosphorus from those organic and inorganic reservoirs, which promote things like the growth in the young plants, increased plant height and root mass growth. And then the benefit of the granule itself, which is coated with the bacteria, is that the granule provides pore space to support the cells of the bacteria, and it also improves water holding capacity. And so together they can improve plant establishment through improved root vigor and nutrient availability. The urban environment provides its own unique set of challenges and stresses that trees can suffer from. And here's just a few of the stresses faced by trees in this graphic on the slide here, but not included here are also the additional issues of things like salt damage and poor drainage, lack of organic matter, lack of microbial quantity and diversity needed to support root systems, and poor or potentially no maintenance, watering, and mulching practices. So in an attempt to give trees a better chance at establishment and growth, LALRISE START G provides the benefit of the bacteria and the granule. And we've conducted some interesting research in the urban environment with LALRISE START G. And while we don't have time to cover it all today, if anyone is interested, of course, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to chat about that. And I just want to say that the urban planting scenario is also incredibly complex. And so this could be another tool in the toolbox, so to speak, to help aid tree establishment and growth in those newly planted urban tree scenarios. So to bring all of these topics together and wrap up our webinar, we know that proper soil amendments are just one part of the tree survivorship and growth, but they can really play a key role in so many ways. So if we consider back to the idea of phosphorus solubilization through LALRISE VITA, for example, we know that phosphorus is often present in soil, but it can be so quickly bound up in a format that then is not available for plant uptake. So though it's there, it's not in a plant available format. So the bacteria can help to cleave that bond to improve phosphorus availability for plant uptake. Or if we think about LALRISE MAX, how we can extend the reach of the root system through that hyphal network to improve water and nutrient uptake for the plant. There are a variety of factors to consider, including how plant growth promoting products like LALRISE VITA, LALRISE MAX, and LALRISE START G fit into tree growth and planting practices. And these products each have a role to play and can be used together or on their own depending on how they're being used and for what stage of tree growth and what the desired end result is. So that brings us to the end of the webinar today. I know that we covered a lot of information today. And if you'd like any further information on any of our products discussed today, please feel free to visit our website or contact our support team. The email and address is listed on this slide here. And I want to thank everybody who attended today. Thank you so much for your time and coming out.